There was a certain man from Ramah of Zophim, on Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. And he had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the second was Peninnah. And Peninnah had sons. But Hannah did not have children. And this man went up from his city, on the established days, so that he might adore and sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh. Now the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, priests of the Lord, were in that place. Then the day arrived, and Elkanah immolated. And he gave portions to his wife Peninnah, and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave 1 portion with sorrow. For he loved Hannah, but the Lord had closed her womb. And her rival afflicted her and vehemently distressed her, to a great extent, for she rebuked her that the Lord had closed her womb. And she did so every year, when the time returned for them to ascend to the temple of the Lord. And she provoked her in this way. And so, she wept and did not take food. Therefore, her husband Elkanah said to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? And why do you not eat? And for what reason do you afflict your heart? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? And so, after she ate and drank at Shiloh, Hannah rose up. And Eli the priest was sitting on the seat before the door of the temple of the Lord. And since Hannah was bitter in soul, she prayed to the Lord, weeping greatly. And she made a vow, saying, O Lord of hosts, if, in looking with favor, you will see the affliction of your servant and will remember me, and will not forget your handmaid, and if you will give to your servant a male child, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall pass over his head. Then it happened that, while she multiplied prayers before the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. For Hannah was speaking in her heart, and only her lips moved, and her voice was barely heard. Therefore, Eli considered her to be drunk. And so he said to her, How long will you be inebriated? You should take only a little wine, but instead you are drenched. Responding, Hannah said, By no means, my lord. For I am an exceedingly unhappy woman, and I drank neither wine, nor anything that can inebriate. Instead, I have poured out my soul in the sight of the Lord. You should not repute your handmaid as one of the daughters of Belial. For I have been speaking from the abundance of my sorrow and grief, even until now. Then Eli said to her, Go in peace. And may the God of Israel grant to you your petition, which you have begged of him. And she said, I wish that your handmaid may find grace in your eyes. And the woman went on her way, and she ate, and her countenance was no longer changed for the worse. And they rose up in the morning, and they worshipped before the Lord. And they returned and arrived at their own house at Ramah. Then Elkanah knew his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. And it happened that, in the course of days, Hannah conceived and bore a son. And she called his name Samuel, because she had requested him from the Lord. Now her husband Elkanah ascended with his entire house, so that he might immolate to the Lord a solemn sacrifice, with his vow. But Hannah did not go up. For she said to her husband, I will not go until the infant has been weaned, and until I may lead him, so that he may appear before the sight of the Lord, and may remain always there. And her husband Elkanah said to her, Do what seems good to you, and stay until you wean him. And I pray that the Lord may fulfill his word. Therefore, the woman remained at home, and she breastfed her son, until she withdrew him from milk. And after she had weaned him, she brought him with her, along with 3 calves, and 3 measures of flour, and a small bottle of wine, and she led him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. But the boy was still a young child. And they immolated a calf, and they presented the boy to Eli. And Hannah said, I beg you, my lord, as your soul lives, my lord, I am that woman, who stood before you here, praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord granted to me my petition, which I asked of him. Because of this, I have also lent him to the Lord, for all the days when he shall be lent to the Lord. And they adored the Lord in that place. And Hannah prayed, and she said,